The chambers of the Subterranean Command Center were quiet. Too quiet for Francis's liking. Ever since the great battle 10 years ago, peace had graced their hidden world beneath the Earth's crust. The air was thick with calm, but Francis never allowed himself to get too comfortable. Somewhere in the depths of his intuition, he always knew peace was borrowed time. Then it came. The signal. It wasn't loud. It wasn't flashy, but it carried weight, deep weight, encoded to the same ring that had once connected him to Earth's last desperate call for help. A single pulse, faint but precise, cut through the silence. Francis's eyes snapped open. He recognized the frequency instantly. Angela. She had been a child then, barely 5 years old, when the last great war had bled through Earth's surface and into the underworld. She had seen the horrors with her own innocent eyes. Now she was calling him. That could mean only one thing. Something was coming. Something big. He stormed through the war hall, his footsteps echoing like thunder. The soldiers at the command post stood at attention. Murmurs spread like wildfire. Francis raised his hand, and silence fell. "We've received a signal," he began, his voice cold and commanding. "From Mars. From Angela. She's using the ring." Gasps filled the room. The ring was only to be used in the direst of emergencies. "There's no doubt in my mind. This is a warning. A threat is near the Martian colonies. We have to move." Within moments, the vast halls of Subterranean transformed into a hive of activity. Engineers began fueling warships that hadn't flown in years. Scientists calibrated long-range weapon systems. Drones zipped across platforms, scanning and repairing launch vehicles. The massive underground hangars came alive. Francis entered the war chamber, where the ancient map of the solar system glowed in faint gold. He locked eyes with Commander Talon and General Saren. "I want full armament loaded into Valkyrie-class ships. Activate the Warden Protocol. We are not going there to observe. We are going there to intercept. If we delay even by minutes, the enemy may reach Mars first." "What kind of enemy are we talking about?" Saren asked. Francis's stare darkened. "The kind we thought we buried forever." His team didn't ask questions after that. Supplies were stacked. Hyperfuel was injected into the cores of warships. Armor suits lined the walls. Heavy plasma cannons, EMP grid emitters, atmospheric stabilizers. All were secured on board. Every unit in Subterranean knew the drill, and they knew it well. They had prepared for another war, even when a world above believed one would never come again. Francis walked into his personal armory. There, encased in crystal, was the relic of the past. His battle gear from the Great War. Dustless, flawless, untouched. He placed the ring on his finger. The suit hummed to life as it bonded with his body once again. "Mars needs us," he said quietly. "I will not let them down." Above them, in the dark silence of space, something was indeed approaching Mars. Alien vessels, sleek, sharp, biologically grown rather than built, moved in eerie unison toward the human colonies. But they hadn't struck yet. No weapons had been fired. Not yet. They seemed curious, observant, as if analyzing before attacking. Angela had sensed it before anyone else. The tension, the strange hum in the atmosphere, the nightmares. And now she waited, watching the sky, knowing Francis would come. Inside the lead Subterranean ship, the Titanfall, Francis stood on the command deck as countdown began. All systems green, the AI confirmed, coordinates locked, estimated travel. 2 days at maximum quantum thrust. "We'll make it in 1, Francis growled. "Engage extra-dimensional jump drive. Override safety protocols. Warning, jump at that speed may destabilize." "Do it. We don't have time." The ship's engine screamed as energy surged. The hull shimmered with friction as reality bent around it. Behind the Titanfall, an entire fleet followed. 30 warships, thousands of elite soldiers, each one trained under the harsh silence of subterranean shadows. Francis's voice boomed over the intercom. "Everyone listen carefully. This is not a drill. This is not training. This is real. We're heading to Mars. There are lives on the line. Humans, our people. who don't even know the storm that's about to land on them. We are their first and only defense. We must arrive before the enemy does. We must be the wall that stands between survival and extinction. The fleet jumped. In the silence that followed, stars twisted around them like water spiraling into a vortex. The ships vanished from Earth's orbit, piercing the void. Meanwhile, on Mars, fear was rising. Angela kept her gaze on the horizon. Colonists reported strange sounds coming from beyond the Red Mountains. Machines acted erratically. Lights flickered in the atmosphere. And still, the aliens hovered in space, watching, waiting. Back aboard Titanfall, time ticked like a loaded weapon. Francis studied the tactical layout. The ships were holding formation, weapons hot, shields charged. Even now, he didn't know exactly what waited for them on Mars, but he knew this. If they failed to reach in time, nothing would be left. He thought of Angela, of the child who had seen war too young, of the girl who had found peace among the stars, and of the woman now bearing the weight of another invasion. "Hold on, Angela," he whispered. "I'm coming." The Martian surface gleamed below as the subterranean fleet tore through space. Francis could now see the red sands of Mars through the ship's viewport. Close. So close. But something was wrong. The alien fleet had shifted. They were descending. Francis's fists clenched. Prepare for immediate deployment. Defensive orbit protocol. Load the atmospheric drop pods. Get every soldier ready. We land now. Sir, the AI responded. We are not yet in stable orbit. Then make it stable, or we'll die in the attempt. The deck rumbled as the first wave of drop pods was launched. Dozens of glistening black cylinders shot toward the Martian surface. Francis stepped into his own pod, sealing the hatch. "Angela," he said into the comlink, hoping her receiver picked up. "This is Francis. I got your signal. I'm here. I won't let anything touch this planet. Not while I'm breathing." The pod launched. As he screamed to the thin Martian atmosphere, Francis prepared for war. Because the enemy was not coming. They were already here. Francis and his team landed on Mars after a fast journey. Francis stood before the vast digital display, his eyes scanning the orbital feed of the alien fleet hovering just beyond Mars's atmosphere. They hadn't advanced. Not a single weapon had fired. But he could feel the weight of their gaze pressing down on every colony, every bunker, every civilian. 1,000 eyes watching, probing, waiting for weakness. Angela stepped beside him. "They've been in that formation for hours," she said softly. "It's almost as if they're listening." "They are," Francis replied, his voice calm but steel-edged. "Every heat signature, every defensive pulse we emit, they're logging it all. They're learning our patterns." Around them, the command center buzzed. Engineers raced between terminals. Defense operators coordinated orbital scans. Mars's entire planetary network was now plugged into subterranean command systems, bringing Earth's lost expertise to this vulnerable colony. Francis turned to Commander Talon. "Deploy Spectre units. They are to move to the crater ridges. Set up remote illusion decoys. I want the aliens confused about where we really are." "Yes, sir." Talon nodded and vanished into the corridors. Angela glanced at Francis. "You really believe they'll strike?" "I believe they want to know how much we're willing to risk to survive," he answered. "And I plan to show them, without firing a single shot, what humanity is made of." Outside, on the barren Crimson Plains, subterranean tech crews worked tirelessly. Mobile artillery disguised as mining rigs. Camouflaged energy barriers built into old transport hubs. Entire defense structures retrofitted into cargo depots, seemingly harmless but ready to spring like traps. It was chess on a planetary scale, and Francis knew every move counted. He met again with the Martian High Council. "We reinforce sectors Alpha through Delta. All southern colonies are under energy shields. We've sealed every atmospheric gateway and have 3 emergency evacuation routes for civilians." Governor Heron reported. "Good," Francis said, pacing slowly. "And the weapons?" "Hidden in plain sight, as you instructed," Angela confirmed. "We even rewired the colony's water towers to serve as plasma cannon mounts if needed." He nodded approvingly. then turned to the holographic map again. They may not be here just for conquest. What if they're scouting for something else? Angela asked, pointing to specific alien ship formations. The symmetry, it's too perfect, like a scanning grid. Francis's brow furrowed. Not just a scan, a search. A chill rippled across the room. For what? Someone asked. He didn't answer. Not yet. Later, under the violet glow of Mars's moons, Francis stood alone outside the main dome. The red dust swirled gently in the thin air. He stared up at the stars, then reached into his chest plate and tapped the communicator embedded in his armor. Secure frequency. Code Black Alpha. A moment later, the subterranean AI responded. Channel secure. I need every classified subterranean file on ancient alien activity near the Martian sector. Cross-reference with the ship's signatures in orbit. Look for pattern overlaps with Forsaken Depths archives. Processing. Francis exhaled slowly. The Forsaken Depths, a hidden part of Subterranean, once thought sealed off forever, a place of legends, nightmares, and now, perhaps, the source of the presence circling them. The AI replied, match found. Ship biosignatures resembled dormant vessels cataloged in the Cradle of Silence files, dated pre-human emergence on Earth. Francis's pulse quickened. That can't be. Those ships were fossilized. Dead. Unknown. But current orbiting fleet shares 89% biological architecture with those in ancient records. He deactivated the channel. This wasn't just an encounter. It was a resurrection. The next morning, the skies over Mars turned darker than usual. A low hum vibrated through the atmosphere, inaudible to most, but unmistakable to those who had once fought in the subterranean wars. The air tightened. Time slowed. Francis called an emergency briefing with all leaders. Listen closely, he began. We have a narrow window. Right now we have the advantage. We arrived before them. We set the field. But understand this, they are not primitive. They've survived longer than humanity has existed. Gasps whispered through the room. They may not even recognize us as sentient. To them, we're an anomaly, a mutation that climbed too far. Angela leaned forward. What are you saying? I'm saying we hold. Do not initiate. If they speak, we answer. If they test, we endure. But the moment they cross a line, we strike like thunder. He outlined contingencies. Fallback points, orbital bombardment timing, underground civilian capsules. Every escape, every sacrifice was already calculated. The Martian colonists, though shaken, steeled themselves. They had faith in Francis. After all, the last time the world was on the edge of destruction, he didn't just survive, he led. Over the next 24 hours, strange phenomena plagued Mars. Gravity fluctuations, subtle radiation pulses, malfunctions in untouched equipment. The alien ships remained still, but they seemed to be manipulating the environment itself, probing Mars like a living specimen. Francis kept the soldiers in check. No provocations, only vigilance. He sat once more with Angela in the silent war room. You remember much from the last battle? He asked her gently. Not all, just flashes, screams, your voice in the chaos. I used to have dreams where you vanished forever. Francis looked away. I almost did. Angela reached into her pocket and revealed the ring, the communicator she had used to call him. I never forgot who saved us. I kept it with me, always, in case. He gently took the ring and closed her fingers around it again. You did the right thing. You gave us time. Now, let's make sure it wasn't wasted. As night fell again, the alien fleet shifted subtly. For the first time, one of the vessels began to descend, slowly, purposefully, toward the Martian surface. Francis activated every defense silently. No one fired. No one moved. They watched. They're coming, Angela whispered. He nodded. Then we meet them. And in the shadow of Mars, beneath the blood-colored sky, the line between peace and war blurred to a whisper. But Francis, the guardian of two worlds, stood firm, ready to hold that line until the stars themselves faded. The crimson skies of Mars darkened as the silhouette of a massive alien ship broke through the upper atmosphere. A low hum, like a groan from the universe itself, echoed through the Martian colonies. Everything stood still. Miners paused their drills, engineers halted their repairs, and soldiers tightened their grips on plasma rifles. Fear swept the red sands like a storm. From the heart of the capital colony, Nova Astra, Commander Francis stood atop the central observation platform with his closest advisors, Talon, Ella, and the High Council of Mars. His face, carved by years of battles and hardship, was calm but steel with purpose. He stared up at the descending monolith. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. No windows, no markings, no heat signatures. Just silent, ominous power. The ship hovered silently, defying gravity and physics, casting a long shadow over Nova Astra. Then a low, rumbling voice echoed, not from the sky, but within every mind. Francis, leaders of Mars, we are the progenitors. You have trespassed on sacred ground. A streak of dark energy pulsed from the ship to the surface, and before anyone could react, a tall, silver-hued being emerged from haze. Its body shimmered, not quite solid, not quite energy. Eyes like molten stars fixed on Francis as it floated forward, untouched by gravity. The Martian guards aimed their weapons. Francis raised a hand to lower them. "Speak," Francis demanded. "Why have you come?" The being's voice boomed again, this time from its own mouth, layered and terrible. "You are warned. This planet was never meant for your kind. Mars holds relics and power older than your galaxies. You dig. You terraform. You poison. You awaken things you cannot control." Francis didn't flinch. "We built the civilization from the dust. We fled a dying Earth. We made Mars our home." The alien floated closer, its aura crackling like a storm barely contained. "You've built nothing but a lie. Mars is not yours to claim. Leave or face extinction." Gasps and murmurs rippled through the council. Talon's eyes narrowed, his hand twitching near his sidearm. Ella stepped forward. "And if we refuse?" she asked. The progenitor turned to her slowly, ominously calm. "Then we will return, not as one, but as legions. We will break your domes, poison your air, and crush your bones beneath the dust. Not one child will survive." Silence. Then Francis stepped forward, unblinking. "We didn't run from Earth to be slaves on Mars. You think you can intimidate us? Try it. We will not abandon our home. Not now, not ever." The alien's eyes flared brighter, its body vibrating with fury, yet remained still. "So be it. You've sealed your fate, Commander." Suddenly, a strange pulse rippled through the city. Every screen, every piece of machinery flickered. A jarring silence followed. This was mercy. The progenitor began ascending back toward the ship. Next time there will be none. With a thunderous roar, the ship ignited its engines and vanished into Martian sky. No trace, no radiation, just a lingering echo of its final words. The crowd that had gathered around the Capitol was stunned into silence. Children clutched their mothers. Soldiers looked to the heavens. Fear and awe coiled tightly around every heart. Francis turned to the council. "Prepare for war," he said quietly, but firmly. "We don't know when they'll come back. But when they do, we'll be ready." Talon nodded. "We'll bolster every dome. Begin training the next generation immediately." Ella's voice was low. "What if we can't win?" Francis looked out toward the crimson horizon, where the last traces of the alien ship had disappeared. His eyes were hard, unyielding. "Then we'll make sure they never forget who defied them." From deep space, far beyond any human reach, the progenitor ship vanished into a wormhole, a gate that pulsed like a living wound in the universe. And beyond that gate, thousands more ships waited dormant, awakening. The alien commander stood before a council of its own. Great beings of energy and void surrounded it. "He defied us," it said, voice laced with curiosity and disdain. One of the elders stirred. "Then we shall answer that defiance with annihilation. Begin the summoning." A low chorus of mechanical chanting echoed across the void. Mars had been marked.